Welcome to PML Excel, a self-study course on knowing how to raise real private money the right way from the right people without having to depend on your friends or family members for money ever again. What you'll also find is that your credit, liquidity, or experience is irrelevant in your ability to successfully raise private money. My name is Amy Majuri. I've been investing in real estate over the last 11 years, and during that time, I've raised millions of dollars in real private money for hundreds of real estate transactions all over the country. And the result of that is investors just like you, new and experienced, part time and full time, started coming to me and asking me for help. You wanted help solving the money problem. How do we get out there and have the ability to say yes to every amazing deal that comes across our desk? We no longer want to worry about scrambling to the closing table, or worse, have to lose a deal and terminate a contract because we couldn't secure 100% of the funding. I am here to help ensure that doesn't happen again. How do we unlock your buying power so that you too have the ability to say yes to every amazing deal that comes across your desk? Here's the best part. Whether you are new or experienced, part-time or full-time, the concepts that I teach walk you through creative trust and rapport building strategies that you will eventually weave and integrate into your day-to-day lifestyle. You're not going to sit behind a desk and cold call. You're not going to launch a direct mail campaign. The minute you leave your house, you're going to make a mindset shift. Everyone you encounter is a prospective private money lender. How in the world do we get a complete stranger, Amy, to invest with us? How do we get them to lend us as little as 6 figures in just 21 days? I'm about to show you. And whether you choose to work with friends and family members when raising private money, we are always going to treat this like a business and structure our deals the right way. Remember, we don't need their money. They need us. We're going to make many mindset shifts throughout this training. We're the ones offering them double-digit returns backed by real estate. We're the polished professionals poised for aggressive growth. We truly want to believe, while also being appreciative, that no one's doing us a favor by lending us $100,000. We're doing them a favor by allowing them to invest with us. So, as we go through this training, remember, walk before you run. I have laid everything out for you in a systematic way. You will want to complete video 1 and the action item before you proceed into video 2. What I'm going to cover throughout this training is my FACT framework. My FACT framework is my 4-step unique methodology in knowing how to raise real private money the right way from the right people. The F represents foundation. Before we get out there and start taking action, we have to build a solid foundation. I'm going to break that down for you shortly. Step 2 is action. Now that we're taking action, we're meeting a bunch of people, we're filling our funnel with prospective private money lenders. How do we move on to step 3, which is the credibility portion? What do we show them? What presentations? What pitch decks? Do we go through the contracts? Do we go straight to the numbers? No, never go straight to the numbers. So the credibility portion is where you will start to meet with prospective private money lenders and show them who you are, what you do, what's in it for us, why do we leverage private money, and what's in it for them, the private money lender. Why should they lend us their hard-earned dollars? I will also cover step 4 of my FACT framework, which is the transactions, because once the transactions come through, that means you've either received a verbal commitment or a hard commitment, you've received the money. We want to focus on 3 things. Number 1, how do we nurture that relationship so that they reinvest? Number 2, how do we increase their investment amount? And then number 3, how do we get those private money lenders who have invested with us to introduce us to their trusted network of prospective private money lenders? Throughout this 4-step process, I will introduce to you my 4-second power pitch and my general private money presentation, which is the very first credibility piece you will take your prospective private money lenders through, either via Zoom or an in-person coffee talk. More on all of that in the following lessons. For now, take notes in the workbook provided below if you would like, and I'll see you in the next video. Welcome to my fact framework. If you recall, my fact framework is my 4-step unique methodology in knowing how to raise real private money the right way from the right people. What I'm going to do for you in this lesson is break down my fact framework in detail because throughout the training, you are going to grasp an even greater understanding of how we are going to implement all of these creative trust and rapport building strategies into every single part of this 4-step process. My fact framework begins with the F, building our foundation. What does that look like? So before we get out there and start raising private money, we want to gain clarity on several different things. And it all begins with our mindset. We are going to make a massive mindset shift right now before we continue. So instead of thinking, I can't raise private money because I don't have any experience, this is very common for us as real estate investors, especially the newbies. It becomes, I can raise private money by building my foundation and speaking with confidence. So, what exactly does that mean, building our foundation? One of the most critical components of building our foundation is knowing how to tactfully and strategically plant seeds with anyone and everyone we encounter the minute we leave our house. Because remember, raising private money is rapport based lending. And because I lacked support from friends and family members when I started investing 11 years ago, I took it upon myself to figure out how to build real and genuine relationships with everyday people. Everyone, people from church, people from my neighborhood, people from the grocery store, sporting events, bars, restaurants, Uber drivers. This is going to be a common point of reference throughout the training. Here's what my 4-second power pitch looks like. I show people how to earn double-digit returns backed by real estate. My 4-second power pitch is your very first script. We're going to talk about this in greater detail shortly. All this script does is remind you that number one, everyone we encounter the minute we leave our house is a prospective private money lender. And number two, it is simply you announcing to the world who you are and what you do. It's our way of planting seeds with anyone and everyone we encounter so that they start to ask us more questions. And then the call to action is we obtain their phone number. So at a later date, we can follow up with them and break down our process more at a very high level. Once we dive into the training on the 4-second power pitch, you'll quickly learn that this is a power pitch you can easily integrate into your day-to-day lifestyle, and it's not even going to feel like you're working to raise private money. As we continue through my fact framework, step 2 is A, we're taking action. All right, Amy, I built my foundation. I'm clear on who I am and what I'm doing. Now I'm ready to get out there and start to implement all of these creative trust and rapport building strategies into my day-to-day lifestyle. We're going to make another mindset shift. Instead of thinking, I can't raise private money because I don't know anyone with money, that's okay. It becomes, I can raise private money because I have steps, I have a system, and I know how to identify private money lenders. Let's pause for a moment. The majority of educators and investors out there will tell you raising private money is easy. Just go ask your friends and family members. What if you don't want to? What if they don't support you? What if they're not in a position to lend on your deals? That's exactly what happened to me when I began investing 11 years ago. I lacked that level of support, not just from my friends, but from my family, specifically my dad. Those of you who know me know that my dad didn't even talk to me about real estate investing for the first 2 years of my career. I had gone under contract with HGTV. I had turned multiple 6-figure profits, and my dad still didn't acknowledge it. Later, he became my biggest cheerleader. I share this with you because I had to learn how to get out there and build real relationships with everyday people. I didn't have a boatload of private money lenders ready to go. I never, still till this day, have ever bought a list of high net worth individuals or launched a direct mail campaign. So, what I'm going to show you throughout this training is how you too can build genuine relationships with everyday people. One of my top strategies, which still yields the highest amount of private money lenders in my business today, is through social media, specifically LinkedIn. What I've created for you is a process called my 1 by 4 by 30 method. Here's what that means. We're out there taking action, we're meeting people, we're implementing the 4 second power pitch, we're filling our funnel with prospective private money lenders. Now, from the comfort of our own home, we are implementing my 1 by 4 by 30 method. First, we need a LinkedIn account for this. More on this later. When you have your LinkedIn account, we're going to get creative and start connecting with prospective private money lenders through that platform. So here's what I did. At a minimum, 1 day a week, I would pre-schedule 4 30-minute one-on-ones with the individuals I connected with on LinkedIn. Again, more on this training in detail coming up. Right now, the purpose is to understand that step 2 of my fact framework is where you will be implementing every single networking strategy into your own business. Where else can we go, Amy? Give me more other than LinkedIn or bars and restaurants and implementing this 4 second power pitch. Here's a handful of other ideas. And again, we will get into this in greater detail throughout the training. Sporting events. You can go to airport lounges. We all travel, we all go to events, invest in first class, talk to people at the airport, hotels, restaurants, fundraising events, invest in a VIP ticket. I've shared this story many times. I am not into cars. I could care less about cars. Every year when the Chicago Auto Show rolled around, I invested $400 in a VIP ticket. It was black tie. I got dolled up all by myself, and I would go to these events and work the room in a non-creepy way, shaking hands with as many people as possible. And my goal was to get that person's phone number. It doesn't matter how much you vibe with the person. You have a plan to work that room. What are you doing when you get their phone number? We'll talk about that later. There are so many ways we'll get creative to meet new people to fill our funnel with prospective private money lenders, including going to other entrepreneurial events. We're not just going to limit ourselves to networking with other real estate professionals. Every entrepreneur has had to build a team and raise money. So it doesn't matter if you find events that have to do with the food and beverage industry, the gaming industry, the tech industry. If you find an entrepreneurial event within a 45-minute commute of where you live, then go to it. Of course, there will be people there who will not give you the time of day and who will not want to help you. But for every one person you encounter who has that mindset, you'll come across 10 who would be more than happy to help you or introduce you to somebody who may. Step 3 of my fact framework is the C, the credibility portion. Now that you've built your foundation, you're taking action, you're building your list of real private money lenders, we have to show them that we're credible. So, what does that look like? Later on in the training, I'm going to give you a whole list of credibility pieces for you to pick and choose from, everything from your general private money presentation to your hybrid presentation to your contracts to your 401k presentation, private money workflows, deal analyzers, and so much more. Just remember, I got you. This training is completely done for you. There is nothing you need to do other than follow the system. So we're going to make another mindset shift. Instead of thinking, I can't obtain 100% funding because I have to have skin in the game. We hear that all the time, right? It becomes, I can raise private money because I know how to nurture my network, and I know, most importantly, how to protect, secure, and insure my investors. More on that later when we break down what the contracts look like. A very powerful credibility piece that I give you in Module 3, don't jump ahead, is your list of frequently asked questions. There is a time and a place to share this list with your private money lenders. I'll break all of that down for you in Module 3 under your credibility section. Just know that I have a 6-page list of questions that I have compiled over the last 11 years, which contains over 95% of any question a prospective private money lender will ask you. I'm talking about brand new private money lenders who have never invested in a deal before, all the way up to the very investor savvy private money lenders from Wall Street, former investment bankers, and hedge fund managers. Step 4 of my fact framework is the T, the transactions. Once you've built a solid foundation, once you've consistently taken action, and once you've done a good job of thoroughly taking your audience through every single credibility piece that it takes in order to get that verbal commitment from them that they want to invest in your deals, then the transactions start to follow. Either you receive a soft commitment in the form of a verbal commitment, or you receive a hard commitment, which means you've actually received a wire transaction. Once this happens, you want to focus on 3 things. Number 1, how do we take care of our private money lenders so they reinvest? Number 2, how do we get them to increase their investment amount? And number 3, how do we build such an amazing relationship with them and continue to foster that relationship that they introduce us to their trusted network of prospective private money lenders? At the end of the day, stay committed, trust in the system, and surrender to the process. As long as you follow my fact framework, you are putting yourself in a position to succeed and win the race. You guys got this. I got you, and I'll see you in the next video. Welcome to your general private money presentation. At this point, we've built our foundation. We are out there every single day implementing the 4-second power pitch. And as a result, we're filling our funnel with prospective private money lenders. So now what do? Now we're taking action. We are meeting with people, and we need to show them that we are credible and we know what we're doing inside of our real estate business. So 90% of the time, the very first credibility piece we will take our private money lender through is this general private money presentation. What you're going to see is that this presentation provides our audience with a very high level overview of 4 things. That's it. It's number 1, who are we and what do we do? Number 2, what's in it for us? So why do we leverage other people's money? Number 3, what's in it for the private money lender? Why should they invest in our deals? And then number 4 is simply the call to action. So before I take you through this presentation, I'm going to jump in and out of coaching mode. I will be speaking to you and sharing information with you as though you were a private money lender. I have scripted out every single slide for you. So during this lesson, don't worry about taking a bunch of notes. You can always go back and pause the video. And as always, when questions come up, head over to our community forum or join us on our live group coaching calls. Before I take you through this presentation, notice how when I rattled off the 4 bullet points, I didn't mention anything about our target market, our deal analyzer, our buying criteria, our power team, our wholesale pricing on supplies. Because at this point, none of that matters. What we don't want to do is overwhelm our audience with too much information, because most of the time, the people we'll be speaking with have never really invested in a deal before. Now, sure, approximately 10% of the time, you may skip the general private money presentation and maybe take your private money lender through our hybrid presentation, which you'll learn about later in the training. Maybe it's an investor savvy private money lender from Wall Street, an investment banker, a hedge fund manager, which will happen to all of us. And they already understand what's in it for us and what's in it for them. Then and only then, when or if they ask to go straight to the numbers, no problem. We want to be respectful of their time. Here's how I'll respond to that. Sounds great. Let's schedule a call. I'll take you through my underwriting process. I'll show you my deal analyzer in detail. More on the deal analyzer coming up shortly. However, rest assured, I just want you to understand that I have anywhere from 10 to 15 different credibility pieces in my business that I use to build ongoing trust and rapport with my private money lenders. And then we rattle some of them off. For example, I have a hybrid presentation, I have a private money ebook, I have a 6-page list of frequently asked questions. So at any point, if you would like to see any of those credibility pieces, please let me know and I will gladly share them with you. But for now, sounds great. Let's go straight to the numbers and we'll schedule a follow-up call in order for us to do that. All right, so back to the presentation. This is the very first credibility piece you will take your private money lenders through as you're getting the yeses. Here's what this looks like. This is, of course, tailored to my own branding, my colors, my font, my logo. For those of you who don't have a logo, it's okay. You can just click on my logo, delete it, and put your own logo on here. Change the gold to whatever your colors are. Remember, everything inside of this curriculum is done for you. You never need to create a new presentation. You simply need to take what I've already created for you, delete my name, and put your name on it. And of course, all the other details like the bio and your branding, so on and so forth. I always kick off every single private money presentation with a disclaimer. Hey, just so you know, private money lender, I am simply here to share with you what I've been doing over the last 11 years. And of course, there are always risks to investing in real estate. So at any point, when or if you feel like you need to consult your own attorney, please do so. And then I crack a joke. Now that the fun stuff's out of the way, let's get started. Some of you will be talking to friends and family members, so they'll know a lot about who you are and what you do, and others will not, because a lot of what I teach you is how do we get out there and raise private money from a complete stranger? How do we get that stranger into our network so we can build rapport and trust with them? So, in as little as 21 days, they are potentially investing in our deals. So, we do start off with some sort of a bio. Who are you? What does your background look like? When I first began investing, I was a brand new part time real estate investor working my job at Dell. I didn't have any experience. That's okay. I just highlighted some of the accomplishments I had achieved while working my corporate job. So, for those of you who are newer, you can do the same. Talk about what you do when you're JOBs, or maybe talk about some of the things you've done as a part time real estate investor. A lot of you out there have done some minor renovations on your own home, or you've helped a friend and family member with a fixer-upper, or you have a rental property. We can highlight those as experiences. So write those down on this page, and then on the next page, we want to talk about our goals. When it comes to your business goals, try not to overthink it. Easier said than done. I know. You can use mine as an example if you would like. Whether you have experience or not, there are always a handful of deliverables we can include on this slide. For example, no matter how good we have it, we never stop looking for investor-friendly realtors, private money lenders, and general contractors. So if you would like to add those as 3 separate bullet points on this slide, you can, because all of us are always looking to continue to grow and build our power team. Onboard 1 general contractor, onboard 1 acquisitions manager. Acquisitions manager is just a fancy way of saying realtor. Raise an additional $5 million in private money. Instead of saying double your passive income portfolio, maybe you want to be more specific and say something along the lines of acquire our next 5 rental properties. Notice how I said acquire our next 5 rental properties. For those of you who are brand new to the industry, maybe you haven't acquired any properties yet. So we don't want to focus on what you haven't done. We want to focus on what your goals are and what you're going to do. Some of you may not have any interest in publishing a book. That's okay. For me, I do have a goal of publishing my second book. It's very interesting, though, that many people who come through the RPM community go on to do amazing things. They learn how to raise money, they grow and scale their real estate businesses, and then they learn how to buy and sell other businesses outside of real estate. And then so many others go on to actually publish a book because they do want to share their story. It's inspirational. They want you to learn from their journey. Never did I expect that that would be an outcome of being a part of this community. So who knows, maybe you may go on to publish your very next book. Whatever your goals are, and include them on this slide. So now we're going to focus on bullet point number 2. Why private money? Why are we raising money and not putting any of our own money, our skin in the game, into the deal? There are so many reasons. Remember, the number one reason why everyone in the world is not lending on our deal is because they're simply not educated on the process. So we are seated right now with our private money lenders, educating them on how this whole private money lending process works. Here's how I start the conversation. And what I'm about to share with you is a strategy that my very first mentor shared with me. And it's a strategy that I still live by today. So before I take my private money lenders through this slide, I explain to them, hey, just so you understand, of course, I have money of my own. I have a savings account. But when I began investing in real estate, I made a strategic business decision to use all of my money to grow my passive income portfolio. So, what that means, private money lender, is anytime I accrue chunks of whatever number you want to share, $10,000, I say $25,000, instead of keeping it in the bank, I deploy it into a variety of real estate investment strategies. What I mean by that is sometimes I may choose to buy a turnkey rental property in the form of a single family home. Just like you, I'm also a private money lender. So now I'm building commonality. Sometimes I may choose to lend that $25,000 to another trusted, credible real estate investor. On occasion, we will invest in multifamily and commercial syndications. So I don't believe in investing in the stock market. I don't keep a savings, a nest egg in the bank. Anytime I accrue chunks of $25,000, I deploy it passively in my real estate portfolio. This way, private money lender, I'm able to use real estate as my vehicle to achieving financial freedom. And then for all of my flips, anytime I wholesale a deal, my active income is what I refer to, the things I do to make money, I leverage other people's money. I raise private money for all of my flips, for example, or whatever your investment strategy is, because now I'm making an infinite return. So, what that means, private money lender, is that I'm using no money out of pocket and I'm potentially turning a profit. And then I crack a joke about more on that later. Of course, in this business, we're going to make money and lose money. The net of it is hopefully a positive gain. Again, we'll talk about what that looks like later. And then I move on and I break down this slide. So, just so you understand, private money lender, especially now, it is very important for me as an investor to have access to cash because that is the only way I can submit competitive offers and close quickly. I purposely choose not to work with banks for many different reasons because number one, a bank is not going to lend on non-conforming properties. What that means is if I find a property that's got mold or non-functional plumbing, they're not going to lend on it. Number two, they can't close in a week. They can't even close in 2 weeks. They have a very time-consuming, cumbersome process. Number three, even if I choose to save half of the interest that I'm offering you on a deal, a bank is still going to limit the number of mortgages that they're going to give me. So, working with a bank actually prevents me from being competitive, especially in today's market. Access to capital is also very important based upon the goals I've shared with you because access to other people's money is how I am able to take on more than 1 to 2 flips at a time. It doesn't matter how deep your pockets are. This is a message just to you. We are still going to be limited on how much we can do, even if we do choose to use our own money. So then I go on to tell the private money lender not only can I take on more than 1 to 2 projects at a time, access to private money also allows me to diversify my real estate portfolio and start investing in other assets. Maybe I choose to take down a 10-unit multifamily, or maybe I start investing in RV parks or self storage units. So I break down this slide so my private money lender has an extra layer of clarity on why we raise private money. Hey, private money lender, it's not to save and protect my money and put your money at risk. This is how I am able to grow and scale my business. And then we shift gears and we go into bullet point number 3. What's in it for you? Why do private money lenders love working with us? These 3 words may look very familiar. There's a lot of congruent scripts that will be happening throughout this training. Protect, secure, and ensure are three very powerful terms when educating any prospective private money lender on the benefits to investing with us. There are a lot of investors out there who don't raise money the right way. They don't treat it like a business, and they will do deals on a handshake. That's not how we are going to conduct business. We will treat every single relationship, regardless of how close we are to them as a business, and set everything up contractually the right way. So, number one, private money lender, I will always protect your investment. What that means is I will provide you with the promissory note, which simply summarizes the terms and conditions of our agreement. I have these promissory notes ready to go. Rest assured, my attorney has reviewed them, of course. If you would like to have your own attorney review them, within reason, I would be more than happy to cover up to $300 in legal fees in order for your own team to either create their own promissory note or review the one that I can provide you with. Another massive benefit to investing with us is the security you're going to receive. So, what that means, private money lender, is the majority of the time, because there will be exceptions on occasion, we can talk about that later on a live coaching call. The majority of the time, I am going to record a mortgage attaching your name to the property. And what that means is I can't sell this renovated property without your written authorization. So, really, and then I crack another joke, just as much as you're vetting me right now, I'm vetting you. We really want to make sure we vibe, we understand each other because the trust does go both ways. Now, I'm going to share this with you. The trust truly has to go both ways because there may be private money lenders out there. Now, this has never happened to me, who at the end of a project see that you're making more than you originally forecasted. And maybe they choose not to sign the payoff balance. Maybe they tell you they want more. Of course, we have contracts in place that the lawyers and title companies will see and work through. And again, this has never happened to me, but just so you understand, this is why it's so important to really know, like, and trust the individuals that you're going to be working with when raising private money. So, highlighting the fact that they have this security, this tangible asset is huge. And then I go on to demonize the stock market. Hey, if you get out there and you go invest in some stocks, for example, I invested in Lululemon. I did that because my mom wouldn't get off my back about it. So, yes, I own a little bit of stock. I don't actively buy any stock. I only invest in what I know. I explained this to the private money lender. When you go out there and you invest in the stock market, are they giving you a contract? No. Are they giving you security, collateral? If you take a loss, you think they're going to pay you back? No. So we talk about all the negatives that come when we lack control, such as investing in the stock market, mutual funds, traditional 401k accounts, especially parking money in the bank. And then the third massive benefit we want to highlight is how we insure their investment. So, lastly, private money lender, one of the biggest advantages to working with us is that I'm going to insure your investment. Many investors out there don't do this. What that means is I'm going to add you as a beneficiary or a loss payee to my builder's risk insurance policy or whatever policy you have, a landlord policy. So, in the rare occasion, should a natural disaster happen, now this is going to be very important for some of you to communicate depending on where you live. Rest assured, our insurance company will pay you back. So, the way I manage this process is I simply send an email to my insurance broker. I copy my private money lender on the email and I say, hey, here's my private money lender. This is their contact info. Here's their loan amount. Can you please add them to the policy as a beneficiary or loss payee? And please reply to all with a copy of the updated insurance certificate so we can file it away for our records. These three contracts or documentations are huge when conveying the benefits to our private money lenders in working with us. If you forget everything, remember these three words: protect, secure, and insure. However, you're not going to forget everything. And then you're going to go on to convey the additional benefits to investing with us. Also, private money lender, I buy my homes below market value. Now, look, if you don't do that, don't say that. So, when I was buying properties in Chicago, most of the time I was buying them at 90 cents on the dollar. So, the minute I closed on the purchase of that distressed property, I built 10% of instant equity in the deal. Of course, there were times where I would pay above market value, but that's only because I was forcing so much appreciation by tearing down the existing infrastructure and building a brand new single family home. So, this is why understanding our target market and knowing how to underwrite deals, which we'll talk about later, is very important and critical in our ability to raise private money. Private money lender also, I'm always going to offer you a 12% annualized return, and I do. It's always the same for 11 years. Can I get out there right now and beat up my private money lenders and get them down to 8 to 10%? Absolutely. But why? 2 to 4% annualized in interest is not going to make or break my deal. And if it does, then it's not a deal. I want the easy yes. The double digits at 12% more than likely will get the private money lender to just reinvest, reinvest, reinvest. If I drop it down to 8, they may go elsewhere or they may start to dabble in the stock market. So these are always high ROIs at 12% annualized, and they're fixed. The moment we start working together, I'm not going to change these terms on you. And for congruency purposes only, I go on to explain what short-term notes means. I set up all of my promissory notes on a 12-month term. Sometimes our projects are done in 6 to 8 months. Other times they're done in 18 to 24 months. You'll see in the promissory note provided that there is a renewal clause, which is also associated with a renewal fee. And of course, when the timing is right, we can have the conversation and you can decide whether or not you want to stay in the deal. And if you want to cash out, that's cool. Just so you understand, private money lender, I never hold anyone's money hostage, no matter, you like these terms I'm using, target, hostage, no matter how many contracts we have in place. If you agree to a 2-year note, and if you decide 60 days in, you want to cash out, no problem. Just give me 1 to 2 weeks to cash you out principal and interest. And again, we can continue these conversations when or if the time presents itself. At the end of the day, I want the private money lender to understand this is one of many conversations. My goal is to build a long-term relationship with you. This isn't just a transactional relationship or a one-time relationship, because I truly believe that we are creating win-win situations. As I explained earlier, access to other people's money allows me to grow and scale my business, but it also provides you with another way to earn interest income by creating multiple streams of business for your lifestyle as well. And then I continue. Let's say a private money lender at any point says to you, you know what? This is sounding pretty interesting. I definitely want to know more. That's what's going to happen. But Amy, I don't have a bunch of cash sitting around collecting dust. That's when we break down the funding options. No problem. Rest assured, there are so many different sources of funding that you can leverage. Again, when or if we decide it makes sense to move forward, I can break them down for you in greater detail. But here's just a summary of the different sources of funding that we can leverage on my deals. Maybe you don't have cash collecting dust, but you have retirement accounts. If these retirement accounts are self-directed and you have a self-directed 401k account or a self-directed Roth IRA account, some people may not know what self-directed means. You want to explain that to them. Then 100% of the balance in those accounts, when structured the right way, can be used to invest in real estate without taking a penalty. If at any point you want to explore whether or not this option makes sense for you, no problem. Let me know, and I will gladly introduce you to Matt Sorensen, who is the owner and founder of Directed IRA. He is a part of our team, and he will break this process down for you and explain to you how he can help, assuming it even makes sense. Other sources of funding include personal and business lines of credit, personal and business credit cards, life insurance policies, health savings account. Now, I want to pause for a second. I have no idea how in the world to leverage a life insurance policy, but I know who to call, Chris Noggle. I have no idea how in the world to leverage a health savings account, but I know who to call, Lindsay Mercino. Right? So we have this power team of individuals at our disposal because they help us in our businesses. Matt, Lindsay, Chris, you have access to all these individuals inside of our community. And as a real estate investor, we don't want to get caught in the weeds understanding every single transactional detail of how these funding options work. We just need to know who to call. Hey, you've got personal and business lines of credit you want to leverage? Call Eric Mouse. Oh, you don't have personal and business lines of credit, but you'd like to obtain them? Here's Eric's contact info. You may also have money that you've invested in the stock market that you can liquidate, or if you have equity in your home, that's another great way for you to leverage a home equity line of credit to invest in our deals. So, really, private money lender, the purpose of this slide is for me to just show you not to worry about it. You don't just have to have a bunch of cash sitting around collecting dust in order to be a private money lender. And then I go on to break down risk versus control, and I share a personal story. Hey, private money lender, as you know, when control goes down, risk goes up. I vividly remember in 2008, and this is a true story, when my retirement account tanked 50%. And at that time, I was upset at my financial advisor. It took me 6 years to realize it wasn't my financial advisor's problem that my retirement account tanked. It was my problem because I lacked control. I didn't know what was happening with my company-sponsored 401k account. I don't know what my financial advisor was choosing to invest in. I had no knowledge and I lacked boatloads of information when it came to the stock market, mutual funds, money markets, bonds. I have no idea. But in my real estate business, private money lender, I control everything, which in turn reduces my risk. I control my buying criteria, my target market, my underwriting process, my power team, the way we source supplies, the way we negotiate wholesale pricing. And in return, I massively reduce our risk. Now, understand, private money lender, there are no guarantees. We're going to make money and we're going to lose money, not just as a real estate investor, but probably as a private money lender too. However, in our real estate business, because of all the controls we put into place, it's a calculated risk, which again, it does not guarantee anything, but it minimizes risk. Worst case scenario, you have to be okay never seeing your $100,000 again. And I say that. However, the probability of that happening is not likely for all of these reasons. All of these reasons are those controls, the credibility pieces I'm giving you that we put into our real estate business. And then, this is a fun exercise. I ask my private money lender before I share them this slide. I say, hey, take out your phone. Take out your phone and Google, what do banks do with our money? And then they'll say, all right, got it. And then I kindly and respectfully say, all right, awesome, read it out loud. And I'm smiling, right? We don't want to sound demanding, smiling, being breezy. And then they go on to read, banks use the money in deposit accounts to make loans to other people or businesses. Let's think about that for a second. Private money lender, I am giving you an opportunity to be the bank. The banks are the ones that make all the money. This is why they have marble floors and the largest piece of real estate on the block. Anytime a client completes a deposit, they are immediately deploying it and investing in real estate or other businesses. And then I remind the private money lender, again, what I'm teaching you right now is not the norm, and I get that. And this is why we are in the very early beginning phases of really just getting to understand one another and understanding how the private money lending process works at a very high level. Now, over the next several slides, you'll want to update these slides with your own graphics. What you see on the screen right now are it's uncertainty and fluctuations with currency trading and the stock market. And this is simply to remind the private money lender of all of the uncertainty that happens in the stock market or in currency trading. Again, private money lender, I only invest in what I know, and that's real estate. If you take a look at the value of the dollar, dropping now faster more than ever, combined with uncertainty and increases in inflation, private money lender, what that means is money you have sitting in the bank is literally dying. And then I do the takeaway, but it's not really a takeaway. I believe this. I go on to tell them, you know what? Don't invest with me. Lend your money to somebody else. I'm always going to be here for you as a resource. If at any point you choose to invest in real estate, and it doesn't matter if it's with me or not, you need me to underwrite a deal, to vet somebody, let me know. And you know why I'm willing to do that for you? Because I know what I'm doing in my business. I perform at a very high level. I take care of my private money lenders. We have the Ritz-Carlton VIP treatment. And one day, if it's not now, later you will come back to me and eventually invest in my business. So always use me as your sounding board moving forward, regardless of how things end up in the future. And then I go on to share some more news articles. Again, you'll want to update these as needed. Private money lender, here's an example of why 401k plans don't work. If you read this article, it says the average balance in a 401k account tumbled 20%. So in this country, we are raised to think saving money and putting money into a 401k account is how we're going to live our days in retirement. There's no certainty in our 401k plans. You know how many hidden fees there are that chip away at our projected profit or interest earned? Show them these articles. Hey, how wealthy is Warren Buffett? How wealthy are these investment bankers and hedge fund managers? Private money lender, I'm doing exactly what Blackstone's doing. Blackstone raises more than $30 billion for giant real estate funds. Again, it's not about saving my money. It's about being strategic and growing my portfolio. And then I go on to explain how right now my strategy is to fix and flip properties, or maybe yours is to burr properties, or maybe you want to go buy small multifamily buildings, 10 units and down, or maybe you want to go purchase multifamily buildings, 10 units and less. Whatever your investment strategy is, remember earlier when I mentioned not only can I take on more than 1 to 2 projects at a time, but with access to private money, I'm also able to invest across different asset types. This is an example of what that can look like in the future. Maybe I go on to buy short-term rentals, or maybe I start my own hard money lending company, or I start investing in RV parks. So these are just examples, private money lender, of the other things that I can do in my real estate business. Again, we're not there yet. I'm just providing you an additional layer of education. Also, now this is going to be a good one for the newbies. Also, rest assured that we pride ourselves in building our power team. We are very selective with the people we choose to bring into our business. So when the timing is right, I would be more than happy to introduce you to my power team. Who is my general contractor? Let's hop on a call. Who is my designer, my architect, my stager, my realtor, my acquisitions manager? So understand, private money lender, that anytime we buy a property, regardless of whether it's on the residential or commercial side, we pride ourselves in doing things the right way with high ethics and integrity. And we are an open book. So you just let me know who you would like to speak to as we continue the conversation, and I will make it happen. What's also cool about investing with us, and then I go on to explain what our Ritz-Carlton VIP treatment is at a certain point when it makes sense, I would be more than happy to fly you out to the job site. You can walk our projects, we can take photos, videos, you can meet the team, we'll go out to dinner, have some fun in the city before you head home. And that's just something I like to do for fun because, again, my goal is to build a long-term relationship with you. And this isn't just a transactional relationship. So keep that in mind as we continue to get to know each other. And then I start to wrap the conversation with my private money workflow. Your private money workflow will look slightly different. Not all of you are here flipping houses. So I break down this picture at a very high level. Hey, private money lender, right now we're still on phase 1. We're building rapport. I'm educating you on my business. You're deciding if you like me. Ha ha ha. And at some point, you will give me a verbal yes or no. And either way is okay. I got you. Don't worry about it. As I explained earlier, I'm always submitting offers. And if you decide to invest with me, when an offer is accepted, after I've done an adequate job of breaking down my process to you and taking you through all the other credibility pieces in my business, I will reach back out to you and say, all right, we have an investment opportunity. Are you in? And by that point, you'll understand how I underwrite deals and you'll be able to make a quick decision. Once we identify you possibly as the private money lender, what I like to do is make your job as easy as possible. So I will go ahead and fill out the loan docs on your behalf. I will send them over for you or your attorney to review and sign. And once we agree on it, what I prefer is that you initiate the wire. Even if we're not closing for 2 to 3 weeks, I'm okay starting the clock to accrue the interest because I'd rather have the money sooner than later. I'm always on the road, I'm traveling, I've got multiple closings happening. I don't want to have to worry about a wire being received at title within 1 to 2 days prior to closing. Now, let's pause right here before we continue. What most educators, investors, friends, family members, whomever you're talking to in your network about your business will tell you is never take the money. Always have the money wired to title so it remains in the hands of a neutral third party. That way we can't take the money and run. I agree. That's the best way for our private money lenders to secure their investment. That's not what I want, and that's not how I conduct business. So I go on to explain to the private money lender, here's what I'm supposed to tell you. And I share with them what I just shared with you. However, private money lender, here's what I prefer, but I will follow your lead. Because I'm always on the go, what I do is for every single project, I open up a separate business checking account. My big name bank is Chase, and I share this with them. And in return, I give each of my private money lenders view access only to that account so that 24/7, at any time you would like, you can log into the account and see where your money is going. Now, look, that means yes, you are wiring, in essence, me, the investment, and it's sitting in my business bank account, which I control. Does that mean I can take the money and run? And I say this absolutely. But am I going to? No, because your $100,000 is not worth me ruining my ethics and integrity and credibility. And by the way, we still have contracts in place. You have the security, the protection, the insurance. However, I will follow your lead. So even though that's what I prefer to do, if you prefer to send the money to title, no problem. I got you. I will pay to open up the escrow account at title. I will cover your wire fees when or if the timing is right, because I don't want them to feel pressure to make a decision. You just let me know and we'll talk it out and figure out next steps. Before I continue, over the last 11 years of investing, one or two, I can't remember, private money lenders chose to process their wire to title, and that's okay. It didn't matter to me. The rest wired it to my business bank account. And what's even crazier is only one person who was actually a very good friend of mine chose to activate his username and password to obtain visibility into that bank account. Why am I sharing this with you? Because at the end of the day, you will have done such an amazing job of establishing credibility, rapport, and trust with this individual that most of the time they will be cool wiring you the money. Talk to your lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. That's just what I do. A lot of people are going to say, don't do that. It's risky. So do whatever you want. I'm being very transparent. I like to control the money. I don't want to have to wait for title to disperse a draw request. I want the project to stay on time and move as quickly as possible. It's my company. I own the business. I own the operation. I'm in charge of payroll. I'm in charge of expenses. I want to control the money. You do what makes sense for you. And then, private money lender, once the wire is completed, we will close on the purchase of the distressed property. We'll renovate the house. We'll complete the renovation. I will always, as I mentioned earlier, send you monthly photos and videos and project updates, and then we'll list the property. Now, I'm not a licensed realtor, so I don't list my own properties. For those of you who are licensed agents, you decide what makes sense for you. If I did have my license, I still wouldn't list my own properties. I don't care about making an extra 2.5% in commission. I want my job to be focused on finding and funding deals. That's it. I have a realtor on my team who is responsible for listing every single property, and I will gladly pay them a referral fee. If you are in a partnership with somebody, husband, wife, whomever, and one of you, your role is just to be the realtor, okay, that's cool. That will work. But I don't want to wear two hats. I don't want to be an investor and a realtor. You do what makes sense for you. Once the property is listed and we've got a buyer lined up, the way the process works, private money lender, is I will provide you with a payoff balance statement, which again, I will prepare on your behalf. It'll align with the private money tracker that I'm going to give you. More on this later under Module 3 under the credibility section. And once you're good with it, we will submit the payoff letter to title. Everything will be tracked on the HUD statement. And within 24 hours of when we close, you will get paid back your principal and interest. Remember, a part of my standard process, private money lender, is I don't make monthly interest only payments. I don't make quarterly interest only payments. You will receive your principal plus interest in one lump sum at the end of the project. And then I end with the SEC. We love the SEC. We got to be compliant. We have to make sure our private money lenders know that we are compliant with everything. So I like to highlight what I mentioned earlier. Again, private money lender, just keep in mind, I don't guarantee anything. Even if I wanted to, I can't. It is illegal. Now, if you choose to sign a personal guarantee, that's a different type of guarantee. Understand how that exposes you. More on that later on in Module 3 under the contract section. And also, private money lender, I do not pool investor funds. What does that mean? Remember, I'm not a real estate attorney, so talk to your attorneys out there. Because I'm a flipper, and the way you structure your deals will vary based upon your investment strategy, there may be times where I have 3 private money lenders on a deal, maybe less, maybe more. In order to ensure I am compliant and I am not pooling investor funds, which means I'm taking a little bit here, a little bit there, dispersing it into multiple deals, I have to make sure that I have 3 separate set of loan documents and 3 lien positions if I have 3 private money lenders on a deal. Now, how do I determine a lien position? For me, it's very black and white. Whoever invests the most, I put in a first lien. Whoever invests the second highest amount, I put into a second lien, so on and so forth. Let's say there's a $300 investment, and each of my private money lenders are investing $100,000. Again, I'm very transparent. I just tell them, hey, there are 3 of you on this deal, and you're each investing $100,000. If somebody wants to invest more, cool, I'll put you in first lien. And if nobody wants to invest more, that's okay too. Whoever initiates the wire first will be put in a first lien position. So this is how I'm able to remain compliant as a flipper out there. Now, there's a member of the community, Chris Champa. A lot of you know Chris, and if you don't know Chris, you'll have an opportunity to meet him. He is a full-time lieutenant in California, and Chris began investing in real estate several years ago, really just as a side hustle, and it's still a part-time gig for him. He loves serving his community, and his whole mission was to help his fellow peers exponentially grow their pensions. And so Chris was collecting 20,000 here, 30,000 there, 40,000 there, and he wanted to deploy it into different types of properties. But he couldn't do that because that would be considered pooling investor funds unless he set up a fund with a securities attorney. So depending on what your goal and your mission is, you may need to work with a securities attorney to create a fund. There are different types of funds. Talk to your attorneys about this. You can talk to Nick McGrew. You can talk to Mark Kohler's team. I've linked their information below. And they will walk you through what that process looks like. But the whole purpose of this slide is to make sure your private money lender knows everything you're doing is legal and you are being compliant. And then I invite them to go to sec.gov if they would like to get into the weeds to learn more about what compliance means when you're investing in real estate. And we always want to wrap the presentation with your contact info. So before we go into the next lesson, a couple of reminders. Don't ever email this presentation to anybody in advance. Remember, if the person you are meeting with is local, schedule a 30-minute in-person coffee talk. When I first started taking private money lenders through this presentation, it would take me 40 to 45 minutes. That's normal. You want to build a little buffer, schedule a 45-minute coffee talk. Now I can knock it out in 15 minutes. That's the goal. I know we don't live in a perfect world. If they are not local, schedule a 30 to 45-minute Zoom, take them through this presentation, and then at the end of the Zoom, you'll send them a thank you email where you will attach a copy of this presentation to it. Later, we'll talk about my list of frequently asked questions. You may also choose to attach a copy of our list of frequently asked questions as well. That's going to have a trickle down effect on your follow up system and the next meeting you're going to schedule. So, more on that later. Once you send them this presentation, make a note in your CRM, make a note in your calendar. In the next 3 to 5 days, call them. Do not email or text them. Call them and say, hey, thank you so much for your time the other day. Do you have any other follow up questions on what we talked about? Or do you have any additional questions on the list of FAQs that I also sent you? Most of the time, they'll say no. Some will have questions. And then again, we end it with, all right, cool. So, as we discussed, that was just a very high level overview of who I am and what I do and what's in it for you and what's in it for me. And if you want to know more, then what we can do is schedule a follow up Zoom or a follow up coffee talk where I can take you through whatever you would like to see next. I can take you through my org chart. I can take you through the contracts I use to protect, secure, and insure an investor. I can take you through my buying criteria. You mentioned that you may have investments in a 401k account that you would consider leveraging. I have a 401k presentation. I have a private money ebook. So you just let me know what you would like to see next, and I will gladly schedule a meeting. And if not, no pressure, right? We end it with, you want to know more? Cool. If not, no pressure. You want to know more? Cool. If not, no pressure. No pressure, no pressure, no pressure. We want them to feel comfortable and that they are not being forced to make a decision. And then what do you do on the follow-up meetings? Well, that's when we start to look at every credibility piece we have inside of module 3, and we determine which one makes the most sense to discuss next. And it's not always going to be the same credibility piece because you're going to be talking to different types of individuals. All right, you got this. Download the presentation below, go back, watch the video, take additional notes if needed, practice it, understand it. You know the routine. If you have any questions, head over to our community forum, drop them in the platform, or join us on a live group coaching call. I got you, and I'll see you in the next video. Welcome back. How do you feel? We started to build our foundation by implementing the 4-second power pitch and gaining a greater understanding of the different parts that go into building a foundation, such as your mindset, your online presence. You set a private money goal. And then we started to take action by implementing my 4-second power pitch. So now you're out there every single day implementing this 4-second power pitch, right? We're filling our funnel with prospective private money lenders. You've learned how to educate your audience through the general private money presentation, which remember is the presentation you will share with your private money lenders approximately 90% of the time. That's always going to be the very first credibility piece. Well, then we want to follow up with them. So you put a note in your calendar. You have 3 to 5 days to follow up with your private money lenders on the outcome of the general private money presentation. So now what? Amy, I need more talking points. I need more content. I need more of these amazing credibility pieces. I got you. Let's take a moment right now to consider what some additional credibility pieces may look like. Usually, after you've taken a private money lender through the general presentation, they will have follow-up questions. So maybe one of your very next credibility pieces is a list of frequently asked questions. So start to think about your own experiences. What are questions that people have asked you, specifically private money lenders, when it comes to investing with you? What are some questions that you may have? Put yourself in the shoes of a private money lender. What do you want to know about that person or about the deal? And start to compile your own list of frequently asked questions. Maybe another credibility piece includes the contracts that you're going to use to protect, secure, and insure their investment. You can work with a real estate attorney, you can work with your title company on creating those contracts. And maybe one of your follow up calls is where you simply sit down, either in person or via Zoom, and take your private money lender through those contracts at a very high level. Perhaps you want to take the time to create a private money workflow. What happens from beginning to end in your process, depending on what your investment strategy looks like? Maybe you want to fine tune or tweak your underwriting process. What does your deal analyzer look like? Remember, never go straight to the numbers. Even during the second meeting, we don't go straight to the numbers. You will overwhelm and lose your audience the majority of the time. We usually don't go to the numbers until our third, fourth, or even fifth meeting. Maybe an additional credibility piece is a short private money ebook that you create, or you can create an org chart highlighting your power team. For those of you who are brand new, you may not be able to fill all the blanks in right now for your power team, but you know who you need to complete a power team. We can have placeholders, but you know each type of individual you would like to bring onto your team. For those of you who are newer real estate investors, you may not have a team in place right now, but we know who we need to complete our power team, right? You can start to create a template of what that org chart looks like. So there are so many credibility pieces, basic presentations, advanced presentations. Maybe you have someone who wants to invest out of their 401k account. Maybe you create a 401k presentation, start to create a list of resources that you can provide your private money lender with when it comes time to educate them on the different sources of funding that they can leverage. So take a moment right now and grab a piece of paper and start to create your own list of credibility pieces that you can complete on your own time, and start to use those credibility pieces as your follow-up system with every single private money lender after you've taken them through your general private money presentation. You got this, and I'll see you in the next video. Congratulations, you've completed your training inside of PML Excel. Make sure you download the PML Excel workbook, my 4-second power pitch, and your customized copy of my general private money presentation from the previous lessons. This is what's going to help build your confidence, which in turn will help build rapport and trust with every one of your private money lenders moving forward. So what's next? You ready to go to the next level? You ready to grow and scale? Can you follow a done-for-you proven system? There is a significant amount of information inside of my masterclass to help you increase your confidence, including dozens of scripts, one-on-one coaching, customized plans, group coaching calls, and every single credibility piece required is done for you in order for you to close your next round of private money, including all of the contracts, your list of FAQs, your 401k presentations, my private money ebook, my deal analyzers, and so much more. If you want more help, including my done for you action plan, my private money blueprint, and live coaching directly with me, in addition to every single detail of how I can help you raise real private money the right way from the right people so that you never feel stuck having to solve the money problem, so that you never feel alone and you have the ability to say yes to every amazing deal that comes across your desk. You're able to complete more deals in less time. You're able to raise as little as 6 figures in just 21 days. Then go ahead and book a call using the link below. If you want help, I got you. I can show you how easy it is to obtain results as early as Module 1, as long as you follow the system. Remember, everything is completely done for you. I'm handing you my proven system on a silver platter. The only way to fail is to not take action. Follow the system and you will do great things. Take a look at what some of our current students are saying about the masterclass below, and I'll see you on the other side. Take care.